Radio Indianapolis with Indie Gothic Society. Here talking with Dustin from the new local band, The Secrecy.
That is
Uh,
me.
and very excited to hear your new stuff there. And I'm really thrilled and excited to see that you're opening up for the legendary Chameleons UK when they come to play Black Circle.
Oh
Uh,
yes, and just a few days from now.
yes. Can you give us a little background on the band and how it formed?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it's going to sound completely absurd, but it all kind of stems from booking this Chameleon show. So, in a nutshell, I've been in love with post punk and goth rock and and dark wave and all this stuff for many years. And I've always wanted to do a band like this, but I've always kind of stayed rooted in the metal scene and playing in metal bands and finally the stars were aligned. I've been basically poking at the agent who handles the Chameleons for a long time, and I finally got an answer and finally got a date booked. And then I'm like, well, and again, like I said, this is going to sound totally absurd, but I basically was like, okay, now I've booked the Chameleons. Now I have to figure out a way to open up for the Chameleons. And so I booked the show. I hit up a friend of mine who lives here who is like equally as big of a fan of the band as I am. And he was like, I just kind of jokingly was like, hey, we should start a band and open up for the Chameleons. And he was like, well, I got some ideas of some stuff that I've written, that's never really went anywhere. I'll send it to you. And he sent it, and it was basically, he sent me like 5 song ideas, and all 5 of those songs have now become Secrecy songs. And it all kind of happened really fast. Like, I guess the creative juices were just flowing at the right time, mixed with the fact that it's like, okay, well, now we've already booked a show and we're not even a band. So let's just get it going. And it all fell together, and as was born the Secrecy.
And now, just for people who don't know, what other influences would you say musically that the Secrecy has?
Definitely. Honestly, like, I'm a little nervous playing with the Chameleons because there's a few songs where we rip them off pretty hard. So obviously the Chameleons, I would say, is probably not the number one influence behind this band, but also Killing, some of the late 80s, early 90s era of Killing Joke, The Cure, obviously, and then even more into the early 80s and mid 80s new wave and pop stuff that was going on, The Fix, Devo, Missing Persons. These are all heavy influences of mine and going into this. But you will notice as you hear some of the songs as we release singles, like, it definitely has a little bit, and I use this term lightly, heavier kind of feel to it. And I think that's only as a result of being a product of 4 dudes who are also very much into metal. So we kind of can't help but let it bleed in a little bit. But it's not a metal band by any means. Obviously, you've heard the first single. It's very much a pop song, basically. But there you will hear tinges of that, especially with the next single we have coming out. It's a little, like I said, loosely used term, heavier.
Really amazed when I heard that first one, and I played for people, and they're like, "That's Dustin." I'd be like, "Yeah." They're like, "I can't believe it." But
Yeah,
going,
they used to see me behind a drum kit,
yeah, exactly. But I've seen you several times DJing at certain events, and I know your very broad musical catalog that you work with, so I could see how it's possible. It's just a really great sound, and it combines the old but also with the new, and that's what really
Thank
I
you.
think,
Thank you very much.
uh,
That is like honestly the best compliment you could have given me is that we are, we're trying to clearly pay homage to the forefathers and foremothers, but also still keep it fresh, keep it interesting, keep it something that is digestible because there is a whole new generation of fans who are just now getting into dark wave and goth and new
yes.
wave and stuff like that. So
That's also what I wanted to touch upon is like because I know there's a lot of people who like to stick to the classics, if you will, uh,
mhm.
be it in any genre, dark wave or goth or even metal. That
Absolutely.
they
Yeah,
they
totally.
almost they're almost like stymied in the past, and that's why I like to include a lot of newer bands that get people out with kind of sounding like the past, but you're like, oh wait,
Yeah,
like
it's like something I've heard before, but it's also it's refreshing and
yeah,
interesting and yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Who else is playing the show with you?
You mean as far as like the other members?
Yes, the other bands.
Okay.
You know.
Oh, the other bands. So actually, then the other support band on the Chameleon show is this, which I can't say that I know much about them, but actually Tony, our bass player, was very aware of them. A band called The Belt, which is I believe they're from North Carolina, but an older shoegaze band. I guess that's been around like for quite some time. Like started, I think, started making moves in like the late '80s, early '90s, and he Tony in particular because he's way more informed into the shoegaze realm of things than I am. He was like pretty blown away that these guys are still an active band. So it's going to be a very very cool show. So it's just the three of us. The Secrecy will open, the Belt plays, and then the Chameleons will transcend us to the heavens.
Oh yes, yes, and having just seen them in Georgia, it was a great show. You know,
They
uh,
are. Yeah, I've seen
and
them one other time, and it was. I mean, mind blowing is an understatement, honestly.
yeah, yeah, this was my first time seeing them. I did have tickets for their show, but then pandemic happened.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah,
it kept,
I had tickets for that tour as well.
yeah, it kept getting rescheduled, and then I think when they finally did the show, it was on like a Thursday or something in Chicago, and
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I can make the 3 hour drive, but I can't make the 3 hour drive and then make another
and then
three
have
hour
to
drive
and
back
then
to
have to
go
go
to
to
work the
work and
next.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Excuse
yeah.
me.
So, can you give us details on a show, like time,
Ab-
all that, prices?
Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, the show is this coming Wednesday, November 6th at Black Circle in Indianapolis, and the doors will open at 7 p.m. There will still be some tickets available at the door. And yeah, doors are at 7 p.m. and then the Secrecy will go on at 8 o'clock sharp.
8 o'clock. Okay, and that is the all ages show again.
It is yep, all ages. So please bring your kids, expose them to the magic that is the chameleons.
Yes, yes, yes. And do you have what areas can people find more of the secrecy?
We have a Bandcamp page. I believe it's just the secrecy
At
dot band or
bandcamp.com.
at band. Yeah,
Yeah.
something similar to Jeff handles all of this stuff. But yeah, so yeah, we have a Bandcamp page, and we that should start getting a bit more active now that we that we've got more singles to be released, and we've got some merchandise we're going to have up there as well. Um, and then obviously it's available on all your major streaming platforms. You can find it on there because the plan is we will be releasing a new single every month between we release the first one in October, we release the next one next week, and one in December, one in January, and then in February we're going to just release the entire EP, which will have two more songs. So you get 6 songs total in February.
All right, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for taking the time And I know both Robert and myself are very excited to get the word out. We are going to go flyer later today
Awesome.
for the show. And I look forward to seeing you there. And I highly recommend everybody check out The Secrecy on any social media platforms. And I look forward to seeing you at the show at Black Circle.
Likewise, Steve, and thank you guys so much. I always appreciate all the support.
All righty. Have a great weekend.
You too, brother. I'll see you soon.